Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. Several months ago, I published a video where I showed you how to cut out these earrings with my Cricut Maker. And in the comments, I said if anyone wanted a short video to see how I designed them, let me know. And then I recently had someone ask me if I had done that video, and I hadn't. So that's what I'm going to do today so that you can see how I designed those. Now, when I designed that pair, I actually used a diamond shape and a triangle shape, and I welded them together. Well, I'm going to show you something today that is so much simpler. We're going to start with a diamond shape, and I'm going to go ahead and unlock it, and I want my width to be 1.5 inches. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and make the height 5 inches. The final earrings won't be anywhere near 5 inches, but that's what I'm going to use for now. Now I'm just going to enter some text, and it's just going to be the letter V, and I happen to be using Cricut Sans, and that works beautifully on this. I'm going to make this V a lot larger, and then I'm going to unlock it so that I can have it be a really flattened out V. Because this V is what I'm going to use to slice off the bottom of my earring. I think I'll give it just a little bit more of an angle, a little steeper angle, just about like that. Now you want to make sure that you select both shapes and then align them horizontally so that the bottom angle of your earring is precisely in the middle. I have them both selected, so I'll go ahead and click Slice. And then I'll just pull away what I want to keep, and I can get rid of the rest of this. Now notice that the bottom of the earring is still attached to this image. So then the second thing is, we'll go ahead and get a square. Doesn't really matter what shape you use. Cover over the excess, select both shapes, and again slice. So here's what we're keeping, and then we'll just get rid of everything else. Now from here, this is 2.9 inches tall. That's plenty tall for me. I'll blow that up some. If you don't quite like the shape, let's say you want them a little thinner, and you go like this. Or a little shorter, a little taller, however you want them to look, you can manipulate it like this. Okay, so I want mine about 1.5 inches wide at the widest part. That looks good, that's close enough. I'm going to go ahead and lock the shape. Now, my earrings won't end up being over 3 inches long because I'm still going to get rid of some of this point up here. I really like the tops of my earrings to be kind of rounded. That takes a little practice. So let's say you don't want yours really pointy like that, because it is just so hard to be able to get your fish hooks or your jump rings in an earring that is that pointed. Here's one thing I've done lately that I really kind of like also, and that is just to flatten out the top. So you put a little square over it where you want it to cut it, click Slice, and this would be your earring, and you have a nice wide area here, and you don't have to fight with that extreme point. That's one way. Let me go back. All right, let's just get rid of the square. Another way, if you want it more rounded, is go ahead and click on Shapes and Circle. Let's just make this a lot smaller, and then I like to change the color of it so I can see it up against the background. This is a little too big. Let's just make it a little smaller. It's not really an exact science. I just kind of try it. If I like it, great. If I don't, I hit the back button. Okay, so we're going to put it right there. I don't know if it'll work perfectly this first time, but you select both shapes, click Align, center horizontally, and then you slice. I want to hide, I don't think this is going to work that well. Let's hide everything I got rid of. You don't want to move this because you're going to reveal this gray round circle in a little bit to see if it worked well. But before we do, again, we're going to take a square. We're going to just slice off this excess. Select both shapes, slice, and again, not moving the earring, just delete everything you don't need. Now we're going to go ahead and reveal the circle. We'll go ahead and select both shapes and weld it back together. Okay, not too bad. Not quite perfect there. Let's just go back and play with it again. Okay, so here's my little circle. Again, I'll put it where I think it needs to be. Now select both layers, align center horizontally, and we'll slice it again. I'll go ahead and hide the two circles. I think this will work better than the last time. It may not be perfect, but I think it'll be a little bit better. Really, that last one wasn't terrible. But I want to show you, just play around with it until you get it to a state where you really like it. So we'll slice that. Again, don't move this. Just get rid of everything that you don't want. And you don't want to move this because I'm going to reveal my little circle. And since I didn't move the bottom, it's in the right place. Select both layers and weld. Okay, I think this is acceptable. It might not be exactly perfect at the top. You can see a tiny little bit there that's not exactly perfect, but I also have this blown up really large, and you will not see that tiny little imperfection when you cut your earrings. Now that I have the basic shape, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it so I have a top layer. And let's see, my back layer is actually going to be a bright pink. We don't have bright pink. Let's just go with red. Ooh, that's bright. Let's go with that. And then my top layer is going to be a pattern. The main color in it's white, so I'll turn it white. Now, before I start manipulating anything, I'm going to make a duplicate copy so that if I mess anything up, I still have it. We'll just move that out of the way because we really don't need it. I also see over here that I still have this little slice result. There it is. It's hidden, but it's there. It should be just behind this. Whoops, let's see. Yep, there it is. So I'm going to get rid of that. We don't need that. One way to make these earrings is just start making this smaller until it's about the length that you would want it. I think that's a pretty good length, maybe a tiny bit shorter. Now notice, because it was locked, now it's really too narrow. But if we had unlocked it and just made it shorter, then this angle would be really off. But you can always fix those things. Let's go ahead and unlock and widen this up. And I can still see a little bit of the red layer behind it, so I'll make it a little wider yet. Okay, so this angle is less steep than this angle. If that bothers you, and it does bother me, I'm going to use the same trick I used before. I'll type that V. I like the shape of the red, so let me unlock my V. Then I'm going to use the V to mimic the shape of the red layer. Looks like I can widen it at the top just a little bit more. It was close, but I might as well get it where I want it. Okay, so there it is. That's the right angle. Let me go ahead and lock that. So now I'm going to place it on my white layer. Whoops, let me put that back. There we go. I'll select my white layer and my V and click slice. Now it's the same angle as the red layer. So you can see here, that's the original V I used. That's what's left of the V. And then this is what's left of the white layer. Now let's say that you don't want, see how this white hangs out over the red? I like that, but I've seen them done another way. I've seen them where the sides are pretty much exactly the same. There's an easy way to do that too, and it's very similar to what we just did. Let's just type another V. Go ahead and unlock it, make it pretty big. Again, we're going to mimic the angle of our earring. Okay, now I know there's a red one under there. Let's just move the red one out of the way, or you could just hide it over here, but we'll move it out of the way. So now we're going to cut off some of this white earring, and let's just see what it looks like at that height. Always recenter the two layers on them. Now I can go ahead and slice. And before I get rid of everything, let's just pull it over and see if I like it. I think the white layer maybe should be a little smaller, so let's just go back a little shorter. Okay, I can see I'm not back far enough yet because I see my slice results there. Okay, I think I'm good there. So I'll just move this up a little bit so that I'm left with a little bit less of the white. And I can see it's poking through right there, so we'll go ahead and center and then slice. And see, here's that little piece. So I can just grab anything I want, put it over it, select both layers, slice it again. Now this is free, and I just get rid of all the excess. So now my white layer is a little bit shorter, and I think that looks better. For the earrings I'm making today, I want more of this shape. So all I'm going to do is change the colors of these two layers so that they don't want to be sent to the cutting mat. But I have them saved for future projects. I'll go ahead and duplicate the purple earring. Whoops, let's go back. Select both layers. Duplicate that set. Select both layers here. Actually, before I do, I want to select this layer, and I want to make those a little bit narrower. I don't really like how wide they are. I have both layers selected. Okay, I like that just a little bit better. So I'll select both layers. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and lock it back and duplicate. I'm ready to turn the camera around and we'll start cutting. I went ahead and put both pieces of leather on my mat just to save time. I will cut them in two different cuts, and I'll check my blade in between cuts. If you wanted to cut them in just one step, you could change the two colors of your earrings on your screen the same color, and then it would cut all at the same time. Okay, so I want to check the blade. Also, I think I failed to mention that I'm using the genuine leather setting. So just pull your blade out, clean off anything. Actually, push on this end and clean anything off your blade. So put that back, and I think I'll go ahead and pull the top layer up just to get it out of the way in case it's sticking up at all. Okay, so let's get ready for the second cut. My first layer cut very nicely, and fortunately so did this layer. They cut pretty nicely, but I do see that there are some loose fibers. Now some people will use a product on these. I need to buy that product, so I just go along and I cut off the excess fibers with my scissors. Now these are really nice sharp scissors. This is not so easy to do when you have just basic average scissors like I always had until just before Christmas. So you can just go along the back. You want to have your scissors really angled. You don't want them to go through the front, so you really angle them and you just clean some of those frays off. Okay, so I won't waste a lot of your time doing that. But let me look at the backs and the cut on these. There is a little more excess fibers on these. The fibers on the back of these stick up quite a ways, and so they're just going to be a lot more messy. I think these colors turned out just adorable. I'm really happy with that. Now, I'm going to use this punch tool that I got at Harbor Freight. If you prefer to order on Amazon, I'll link to a similar tool there. This is a small set of needle nose pliers, and this is just a jump ring tool. I don't know if I'll use it or not. I got that on Amazon as well, and I'll link to something like that. I have my fish hooks here. Now, I think that 2 layers of leather would be too thick to go through just the loop of the fish hook. So I also have 2 6mm jump rings. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky because to have the earrings face forward and using just 1 jump ring, I'm going to have to twist the loop of the fish hook. So that's what I'll start out doing. So I'm just going to grab that loop and hold on to the fish hook. I'm just going to twist so that it turns 1/4 of the way. Okay, that looks good. Go ahead and do the other one. Sometimes to make these look right, you have to just kind of turn and twist, but you'll get there. Okay, so now that loop is facing the right direction for me to get by with just using 1 jump ring for each earring. I like to limit the number of jump rings I'm using because it'll cause them to flip around less. Now the opening of my jump ring is up at the top, so I'm going to hold it with my needle nose pliers, and then I'm going to put the smallest slit that it'll fit in over the jump ring and twist. You don't want to pull it outward, you just want to twist it. Oh, guess I need my holes. Okay, let's get the holes punched. You're just going to lay this side of the tool. I'm using the 5/64 inch size right here. It's the smallest there is on this tool. And I'm going to lay that where I think it goes. Then I'm going to barely put any pressure, just enough that the earring doesn't move. And I'm going to get a really close look at this to make sure it's where I want it. When you like the placement, you just push together and it makes a hole in your earring. Now some people will do both holes at one time. I don't like to do that so much because if you mess up once, you've messed up both layers. So instead, I'm just going to press through and make a little indentation that marked the pink earring. You can see there's a mark there. Then I can just put my punch tool on that mark, get it lined up where I want it. And once I like the placement, just press the ends of this together. Okay, so now we're ready to finish one of the earrings. Okay, so it's easy if you hold on to this, or it's easier, may not be easy. It's easier if you hold on to your ring with your needle nose pliers, go ahead and put it through both layers of your earring. And then make sure you have the earring or the fish hook facing the correct direction. Put it down on the earring. Then you're just going to do the opposite movement compared to when you opened the jump ring. And you're just going to twist it back closed. Okay, so hopefully you can see that's really closed up nicely. And there's my first earring. And we have a beautiful set of earrings. I hope you learned something from or just enjoyed watching my video. If so, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave them in the comment section. And if you'd like to see what I'll be working on in the future, hit that subscribe button. And then if you click on the bell, YouTube should notify you when I upload new videos. Thanks again. I'm Marilyn. Bye-bye.